name is Amber Haskell. I'm the Senior Director of Economic Inclusion with the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce Foundation. And I have the pleasure of overseeing two of the programs that we're celebrating tonight. One being our Pacesetters Supplier Diversity Network, and the second being our Small Business Strong Technical Assistance Program. The Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce Foundation really focuses on the all-people side of the chamber and representing historically underrepresented businesses and business owners. And today, there's nowhere I'd rather be than at Democracy Brewing, celebrating diverse businesses, which we know leads to a strong and vibrant Commonwealth and a strong and vibrant community. So first and foremost, I'd like to thank Needham Bank for funding our event tonight and for their support of small businesses across the region. And I'd also like to thank Democracy Brewing for having us here today. We're really excited. And with that, I would like to welcome Michael. I was ready, and then I was like, the last name blanked on me. So Michael Semiglozu, SVP of Small Business with Needham Bank.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Amber. It's Michael Semiglozu, but I'm going to get other people's names wrong, so just a minute. Good evening. On behalf of Needham Bank, I just want to like to take to welcome everyone tonight. I know everyone's lives is busy, so thank you again for taking the time to be here. I'll also thank the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce, the Space Grant winners, and Democracy Brewing as well. Again, I'm Michael Semiglozu, Small Business Director at Needham Bank. It's going to take a quick minute just to explain to everyone why small business is important to me. So, we moved to this country in 1988 from Greece with my parents and my sister. And it was my dad's dream to always own his own pizza store. Since English was very limited for him, he would always have my sister and I call all these for lease store signs. He would see them and he would say, "You can put a pizza store, it'll be great. Just call the landlord." So my sister and I, to put it on the positive side of things, we got very good with getting comfortable making these uncomfortable calls and trying to explain to people why teenagers were calling, and saying, "Okay, listen, we need to rent out this pizza store." The one thing I will say was the most common thing. For every small business, as everyone knows, you need a lot of help, right? You didn't know where to turn. You had my sister and I to kind of help him from an English standpoint. But that's about it, right? He didn't know where to go to get a loan. He didn't know what he had to do with the local government to get the permits. He didn't know anything, He would listen to Greek radio and say, "Hey, great, I guess I could get equipment from this guy." But that's about it. It was very limited. So my parents, unfortunately, as the years went by, that dream just became a dream for them. That's all they had. And so they always worked in small businesses, which got my sister and I into small businesses, and we always worked in small businesses. We always did the job from anything I've done, from busboy to landscaper and everything in between. We've done just whatever. My sister is the one that actually got me to banking. I wanted to get my college education, and working crazy hours in small businesses, it was very difficult to do so. So she said, "Hey, why don't you look into banking? There's more steady hours, and then therefore you go to school at nighttime." So I did. That's how I got into banking, is thanks to my sister. And what intrigued me was, as I would sit there as a teller, I would see these deposits come in from all the small business owners. Now remember, I got into banking in 2000. Electronic payments were not a common thing, right? So everybody had to use checks. So if you're going out to dinner with your friends, you either came up with cash or you had to write on a check. So one way or another, right? So, but it wasn't, so that intrigued me, right? So seeing all these deposits. But there wasn't just that. The small business owners, when you're a teller, you're like a nurse at a hospital, they tell you about their problems. So they would say, "Hey, I'm running into an issue, I gotta make payroll, hey, can you see if this check cleared?" And I made it a career choice to want to help business owners in that journey, because I know how difficult it is. It was not easy. So here I am at Needham Bank, and we know at Needham Bank, this is the reason I took the job here. I've been almost here 7 years. That small businesses are the backbone of the economy. Go down any main street. You don't see big corporations. You see them in the big buildings. What feeds the local economy is the local businesses. We all know that. We can see that. We live it every single day. So this space program, right, the space grant program, provided 61 businesses with over $7 million in funding, which is pretty amazing. So when we heard about this, and that helped fill a bunch of vacancies in the city of Boston because we had to be in a storefront, so that was huge. I think that level of commitment is something to celebrate about, and we are happy to be part of that as Dean of Ed. So tonight, everyone's going to be able to hear from the 3 City of Boston space grantees, and in their journey of how they got there, right, and how this space grant also helped them. So, I'm going to welcome everyone, and I'm going to do the horrible job of the names again. My apologies. So, Murad Zudi.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Executive Chef, Moroccan Fusion.
Yes, sir.
All right. Aku Javahati.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. And Yanni Shah, founder and CEO of Unique Events.
Woo!
Moderator, Aliyah Amada, Director of Business Strategy, Mayor's Office of Economic.
Woo, Alicia.
Thank you, Mike. Is it Mike or Michael? Since we're talking about names.
It's Michael.
Michael.
Thank you.
Michael. Welcome, everyone. My name is Aliyah Hamada Forrest. I'm the Director of Business Strategy for the Mayor's Office of Economic Opportunity and Inclusion. Formerly, I connected with your message street just right now. I was a Main Street Director and in Roslindale and worked with small businesses. For about 6 years, worked with small businesses one-on-one, frequently, all the time, a lot of events, a lot of community development, economic development. And now I serve as, I want to say, a concierge of sorts for all businesses who want to find themselves in Boston, from small to medium, startup size, big size. What do? Let's do this. Oh, yeah, please do. I'm not great with microphones. Great. Oh, sure. Okay, great. Let's do it. All right. So, also, thanks to Lead and Make for having this program. All right, so I'd like to start by having you get to know our grantees. I know them pretty well myself, and our speakers. Could you all please briefly introduce yourselves and share a bit about your business? We'll start over here.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Morad Bouzidi, and I'm a chef and CEO of Moroccan Fusion. Started as a food truck in 2016, opening our first small location, which is a 200 square feet in Boston Public Market, in the middle of downtown, right next to in Hanover Street. So we started that, we built it, and that was the beginning of the pandemic. We had to shut down. So for 6 months, it was zero income until we came back after that. So.
Your food is delicious. Thank you for staying.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Khadijatu Aku Jabahate, and I'm the founder of Bold Skin Babe LLC. It's a day spa that is mostly dedicated in minorities and black and brown. I founded Bold Skin Babe during literally the pandemic as well too, like end of 2019, beginning of 2020, and I started at my house with a $1,000 to my name, and from there it was just me, and now we have 2 locations. The second location takes to the Space Grant in downtown area, and then we have another one in Walpole, and now we employ 8 African American minorities to work with us. So we're going to deep deeper into that later on.
Hi everyone, my name is Yanni Shah.
flower shop that'll be called Boston Flower Company in Mattapan. So the flower shop will be also a workshop studio, so we really want to empower the community to come out and do creative and educational teachings, events, and meetings as well.
All right, thank you. So this next one is for all of you as well. One great thing about our panelists is that they're all in different phases of opening and securing their business and their space. Can you all share some of the challenges you faced when looking and securing your spaces, if you have?
Yes, for a restaurant specifically, it feels like we face the most challenging thing, which is building space in Boston. So just a small example, we secured the place, we almost signed the lease, but we had a few folks come in and tell us the estimations. The estimation went up to $2 million, $1.8 million for a 1,200 square feet to build, and that was like unreasonable. This is one of the challenges that I faced personally as Moroccan Fusion. When I could build the same thing, actually this answer was from one of the contractors that gave me the estimation that he could easily make the same thing the same way, 1,200 square feet for $400,000 in Quincy, which is exit 12, and that's less than 2 miles away. So this is the challenges that I faced.
So for me, it was being a woman in the construction. That was the most challenging things. Because you have an idea, and then you bring it to the person and say, hey, this is the idea that I have. Like you draw a plan, or like a blueprint, and then you bring it to them, they're like, oh, are you sure this is what you want to do? It's like, I have a vision, just follow the vision that I have, and you're going to see what come out. So what I had is, and a lot of things that you have to learn about doing a construction that I didn't know before, that while I'm doing it, I'm learning at the same time. And that was very, very hard. Like for example, the blueprint situation, like I didn't know that we have to do blueprints, have it approved, have to put a stamp on it, bring it to the city and bring it back. So for me, I had to draw it by hand and then give it to them to approve it because there was no way I could afford like paying 2 times $6,000. That's how much it costs. So those are the money that you have to get ready first before you even started doing the construction. So I think we should be able to have more information about when we do the construction, and also give the benefit of the doubt when a woman in business come to you and tell you, hey, I have this idea of this business, to believe in them, to trust them, to say, okay, I'm gonna support you, even though like I know there's certain hiccups in it, but give them the benefit of the doubt to support them in the business. Because I feel like if it was a man that came into that and said, hey, I have this business, this is what I do, there wouldn't be no question asked. But because with women, they always think that we don't know what we're doing or how we're going to do it, like, oh, this is so complicated, but actually we do know what we're doing. I think that was my most challenging part.
I absolutely have to agree about being a woman and working contractors and working with construction and build out. I do believe that people don't take us as seriously. That, as well as my building is on MBTA land, so I'm sure you can imagine the challenges that came with that too. And it was just always about pivoting and having the right people around me. I had an amazing lawyer that really fought for me, but that costs money. Lawyers, architects, all of that too. So I was, I'm able to have a business that does make money, thankfully, so I was able to front those costs. But I think that a lot of people, when they're opening these businesses, they don't really know the underlying cost of everything. So those were my challenges.
We have another partner who just entered. I know this is on the spot, but I just got excited. Sean from the Downtown Biz. This question's for you, Murad. So besides the challenges, the many challenges that we just heard of finding and securing spaces, we know that it can be a difficult transition between being really good at creating or making delicious food or product or service and turning it into a full-time business. What were some of the things you wish you knew when you started your business?
Awesome. That's very hard to answer, but the funny thing when I came into this business, I was like, you know what? I am one of the, like, from my experience and what I have done all my life in the food business. When I make something, I know it's going to be awesome. So it takes time to, to tweak it and make it perfect. So I waited to open my business until I felt like I have the perfect recipes, the perfect menus. I start the business, and I felt like I don't know anything, not even about cooking. So, because I felt like being a good cook is like 0.1% from running a business. Management, dealing with employees. Before even we get to dealing with employees, like finding a place. Came to me the idea of a food truck, thinking that food truck would be an easy way in, cheaper, which is it wasn't. My budget was $25,000. I spent $60,000. I came to the point that I have a food truck ready, but I don't have money to operate it. Going back to restaurant business, serving tables, driving Uber, at night, so I can have, money, budget, so I can run that business. So little by little, I put the food truck in front of my house for a year until I generated a little bit of money. And this is when I started. And challenges start little by little. But get tackled. And I think, I always think there is a when it comes to entrepreneurship, there is a difference from somebody like me that came in from nowhere, starting with almost $0 beside the truck that I was paid off. We start from a very, very hard point. We start from the bottom, knowing nothing, trying to fit to a business society. And I think the best thing that ever happened to me is, being in an environment like this, talking to people, asking about people's challenges, trying to apply, compare them to yours, meeting people that have the same business like you, asking them the questions that you couldn't have answer to. And I think this is the best in my experience, is to communicate with other small businesses like me.
Great. I would say that is definitely true. When businesses get together, business owners get together, I feel like magic happens, and there's some collaboration that ends up happening. Maybe
One small place to add.
Oh yeah, go for it.
And you know what? Because I heard both of them said that we are women, and that when I start dealing with business people, I found out that women knew it 10 times better than I did. I'm not even exaggerating. And I'm not saying that because they mentioned what they mentioned earlier. Especially when it comes to numbers and managing the business. I learned a lot from women. And you know what? I started as a little watching my mom cooking, and that's very powerful. This is how I got into food business before even I started making money. Staying with my mom, looking how she cooked, the way she moves in the kitchen. This is what inspired me and got me into this business.
Okay, Dee, this one is for you. So you actually saw some business growth during COVID-19. Can you share more about how you made the decision to be a full-time entrepreneur, and what were some of the indicators that made you decide to leave your corporate job?
I'm not gonna lie, it was very hard walking away from a guaranteed check every 2 weeks. My previous job before I went full-time is I helped open Encore Boston Harbor. I worked in marketing and advertising there, and I was really proud of that job. It was very fulfilling, and I'm not gonna lie, it was hard to walk away, but I did feel a sense of just feeling very stuck there sometimes, and knowing that there was something else out there for me. I really kind of had to push myself out, not gonna lie to you. But I made a 1-year plan. That was, like you just said, I made a plan for a year, saved a lot of money, as well as I really sought out mentorship. So I reached out to, it was during the pandemic. So everyone's home, so you can't ignore me. I'm gonna email and message you. And I reached out to a few of the top floral designers in Boston, and I was like, can I work with you when we do reopen and take a chance on me? And they were all so nice and said yes. So my 1-year plan from May of 2020, when I made this plan, to May of 2021, when I said I'm going to walk away from my job, was that I had to either be freelancing for these mentors the one weekend, or I had my own event for that weekend to kind of supplement the check and the salary that I was making. So yeah, so just having that plan and moving forward with it is really what helped me to get there. So, and then during the pandemic, which, you know, I was lucky to, you know, have a job for the first year, I would always just be like building my website, doing as much networking as I possibly can, going to every single event, industry networking event, to meet the planners, to meet other florists, because you really do network across with each other, and people will literally just give you events sometimes, which is really nice, if they can't do it, or they'll hire you on the spot because we desperately need help in this industry. And so, yeah, so that's how I was able to grow.
This one is for you. So we've been talking a lot about access to capital as a main thing that businesses need when they want to open. Can you share how you funded your business, and what were some of the challenges you faced raising funds besides the space grant? For us, the space grant is a piece of the puzzle for businesses to find their space, secure the space, operate their business, but of course there's more.
Before I answer that question, I got a little emotional, but I have to hold myself, because I'm listening to each one of us sitting here. We all have a background that we start from nothing. And as you were saying, immigrant from, and I'm an immigrant from Senegal, you're from Morocco, you're from Jamaica. So we're all here, and everything that we have done, we started from the bottom of our heart and for the love of what we do. And I feel like it's very important to acknowledge that, like, to be proud of yourself, to be proud of how far we came from. Because I used to be a babysitter before I turned into entrepreneur. And as you said, that secure check is a bet. It's like, okay, I go to the job and I get a check. To be able to detach yourself from that, it takes a lot of courage to be able to do it. You don't know what's the other next paycheck is coming in. You have to make that paycheck. If you don't work, the money is not coming if you are a sole entrepreneur. Now, if you have a team, you have a team manager. You have to manage the team. You have to know how to communicate with them. So all that is with us 24/7. We go home thinking about the next step for the business. And all that is just to show that we all come from the same space. So that, I had to say that because I was sitting there and I'm listening to everybody talking. And I'm like, wow, like we all come from the bottom and here we are. And then we have a long way to go, but we are making it there. So now, talking about capital. Actually, I never did a fundraising or none of those. So I started my business. I used to model / doing babysitting on the side. And one day I used to go on a fashion show, and I used to have a hard time when the makeup artists would put makeup on me. So at that time, before Rihanna started, there was no foundation that could match my skin tone. So you can imagine it's like a light skin tone on my face because my neck is dark, like it was two-tone, like I can't do this. So I was like, well, what if we have like a beautiful skin so you don't have to worry about covering it. You don't have, like, you just be lipstick, eyelashes, or whatever you want to do on the go. Then I went to aesthetic school, which is Elizabeth Brady, and literally I signed up for 300 hours. And I was like, that's the only thing I could afford right now. I can't. So my teacher was like, Aku, I see how you love the thing. You should be able to do 600 hours. I was like, I don't have the money for 600 hours. Like, please help me. She was like, no, use the credit card, do whatever you need to do. At that time, I have an Amex card. So I used my credit card. I was like, okay, I'll pay for my credit card. At that time, I'm a green card holder, so I'm not eligible for anything when you're a green card holder. So just to put it out there, nothing, absolutely nothing. So I did that, and I used my credit card, and I paid for the school. And as we're getting to the end of it, it was in December 2019, heading to 2020. Then before I did my exam, I started taking clients at my house in the kitchen. Then I see people start liking it. I was like, okay, so this is going to work. A little bit of money that I saved for my babysitting. I'm going to ask my friend if he has like a spare room in his salon on Boylston Street. So he actually did have a room. And he was like, I'll just rent you the room for $500. Don't worry about it. I said, oh my God, thank you. So from there, I start saving. That's how I got those things. Like I will go to work, babysit from 10 to 4, and from 4 I'll book a client until midnight and go home. And I do it the same way, 7 days a week. And I would save my money until the summer of 2020. I told my boss, listen, you guys go to the Cape, you don't have to pay me, because usually they pay me when they go to the Cape, you know, that's what it is. I was like, don't pay me, I'll just take the months of August, just work here. And then I opened my calendar for the months of August, and it was booked in a second. And at the time, we were in this wave of self-care, like you need to take care of yourself because of Zoom, you look at your skin, and you're like, oh my God, my skin, and it's on this movement of self-care. So from there, that month I used to get paid $2,500 per week. That month I made $50,000. Wow. So that's how I funded my business. And then I see the needs of like, okay, we need more Black estheticians in Boston. This is going good. Then I went from Boylston Street, and I moved to Newberry Street to a bigger space, of the penthouse. So I had 10 rooms there, and I hired more people. We were doing great. And then I heard the Space Grant program. I said, oops, there it is. Let me go get some money. So let me get some more money. And then literally the Space Grant program was my first ever, I call it free money from the government, because everything that I ever done in my life, it was out of my pocket or my hard working sweat. Like tears and sweat and like an unrested night. I remember one night I was working on the 4th of July. Literally, like people are doing this for it, I'm like working and come outside, and we was like, what do you do here for the job? Like, well, clients are here, I have to, take care of them. So I think funding is very important. And right now, as I'm doing it, and I'm like, be close to your account, to your banker. Find a banker that works for your business. Even if you're not ready for like doing a loan or like having like income or like funds to raise your business, be sure to attach yourself to a banker, because those are the ones who knows exactly what stage is your business and which money you are able to get from them, and they will help you. Even if you are not there, they will tell you, okay, you're not there yet, but stick around and do this number, you will be able to get this amount of money, because that's what I do with my banker. And when I get to that point that I could get a bigger loan, he was like, okay, I can get you this one, I can get you this. So that's how it is. It's not easy, because sometimes you don't know where to go to get all the funds, and trust me, Boston has grants, technical assistance from the city of Boston. They have certain programs that you can get loan, you can get funds from there, but you just have to do your research, because it's on the website, you gotta go look for it. But that's the hardest part for us as small businesses, is the capital. The capital is the biggest, because I'm sure any here that is in this business, in this room, if you had given them a capital, they already have an idea of a business that they have in the back of their head. But it's the money, it's the problem of having a capital and making able to bring their dream true. So,
That's a very emotional hearing everyone speak about their background, and Michael too. I'm a product of an immigrant executive chef from Egypt who ran a bunch of restaurants in Phoenix, Arizona, all Italian, not Egyptian. But I'm just really excited and also proud to be on the stage with all of you, so just wanted to share that. Murad, this question is for Moroccan Fusion, if you haven't been there, is in the Boston public market. Can you talk about the support that BPM has provided you?
Absolutely. So when I mentioned at the beginning, when we want to open a small location in Boston public market, that was right before the pandemic. Our location was ready to go, and then we had to close for a little bit close to 6 months or over 6 months. So, spending all the money I had again after the experience, with the food truck, thinking I have just a little money to go on, it is going to be impossible to pay the rent. Back then we didn't even know that it was going to be, over 6 months. So the BPM, without us asking as a small entrepreneurs, because I don't know if you're familiar with the BPM, Boston Public Market is a non-profit organization that they have this market that they help small entrepreneurs, people that have idea and they want to execute it, but has to fit to the market philosophy of business. I was one of them, thank God. And so they contact us and they let us know, listen, don't freak out, you pay nothing until we figure this out all together. So we paid 0 rents for that 6 months. Even when we opened, it wasn't like, listen, forget about the lease we signed. You pay us 10% from whatever you make. And I think that was like, I owe Moroccan Fusion really owe it to Boston Public Market. That's if I mention them every time, when it comes to a question like this, and sometimes even when it doesn't come. So, and I know the question was specific, and I believe that's what I have for this question. Can I jump in and add a little bit answer to hers when it comes to funding? Michael, don't take this personal. This is nothing against you. Yeah. I always felt like, bank is like love-hate relationship. Yeah, entrepreneurs, you love them when you get the money, and you hate them when you pay it back. So, always, from my experience, before even talking to the bank, you need to know where that money has to go. It's actually good for the bank as well, because the bank wants you to take their money and they want you to succeed so you can pay them back. Maybe 3 times, 4 times more. but that's business, Nobody forced you to go to them. I love banks. I'm gonna take your business card for sure. So, in my experience, I took 2 loans. The first one, I felt like it was one of my horrible decisions I made, because I took the money from the bank and I used it to pay rent, personal stuff. And I think that was a mistake, because I didn't see what I gained from taking a loan from them beside paying it back, because I had no choice. The second time, I did that differently. Second time, I went to the bank, I knew exactly where I needed the money, and I was committed to use that money only for my business. It was equipment that I needed, equipment that would save me money instead of hiring 2 people. Because of that piece of equipment that I bought, with the bank's money, I only used 1 person instead. And the same piece of equipment stayed with me for 5 years now, and I have no doubt that saved me at least $200,000, and that was a $10,000 loan. So before you even take any money from anyone, make sure you invest it somewhere that would benefit your business. And automatically, once it benefits your business, it benefits your personal, life as paying rent. So that's all.
That's helpful. It's helpful. Thank you. So I got my 5-minute warning, so I'm going straight to my final question here before we open it up to the crowd. So it's for all. What is one piece of advice that you would give to entrepreneurs in the room about anything?
Well, I said earlier, it's about having confidence in yourself, confidence in your work. I think it's one thing my mom is here. She's owned a business in managing for 26 years. I went to give her a shout you don't know anything about business. So go ahead and get some education. And that was one thing. I wasn't afraid to go back and get some certifications in business. And I just graduated from the Goldman Sachs business program. And I think just constantly investing in yourself is the best thing that I could give advice I could give to an entrepreneur.
The advice I would give is do it. Do it scared, do it worried, because it's always there. So trust me, like you can be, okay, the business is doing great, but there's always something in the back of your head of how can you make it better. Like when I started the business, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know that you have to get insurance, you have to get all these little things that is part of the business. Like as you said, sometimes you mix the personal with the business, and then at the end of the year, the accountant will be looking at you like, what were you doing? I'm like, oh my bad, I didn't know I was supposed to do this, separate the banks and stuff like that. You didn't know, nobody teach you that. Like you don't have no idea. Like you put all the money together, you see the money grow, you're like, yes, I got money. And then you're like, no, you got a separate thing. So those are the things that you learn as you go. So there's no saying this is the prototype of running a business. There's no blueprints of running a business. Do it. As you go, you learn. And when you learn, you get to gain more experience. Like until this day, there's certain things I'm learning about my business, like slow time, spike time. Now I'm like, oh, that's slow time. We're gonna get over it. Like when I first started slow time, I'm like, I'm freaking out. Even though we're making the money, it's like the amount of money we used to make is completely different. So my advice is, if you have a business idea, go do it. Don't wait any longer, because the end result, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's rewarding.
I think the best advice I will give anyone, always look for people to inspire from, people in the business like yours. Look for them, don't be afraid to ask questions. I have no doubt that a lot of them don't have the questions you're looking for, but you will find eventually one that will give you 100% all the answers you're looking for. So when I am in situations like this, I always pay attention when people are introducing themselves and what business they are. It's hard for me to learn from every single one of them, but if one of you would say restaurant, you're gonna find me every single time I may freak you out, but I will ask you any questions I can, especially if I know you know a lot. So, talk to other people.
I love that. Speaking of other people, thank you all for answering so many of my questions. We'll open it up to everybody else. If you have a question, raise your hand. You might not get this microphone, so please be loud.
Yeah. How do you manage, like, I guess, because this is like a mental health thing. How do you manage, like, your mental health when it comes to, like, that uncertainty? Because it's an anxious-producing experience, anxiety-producing experience. Instead of like, going to your business to get a spa day, literally, it's like, how do you manage that? Because that's something that's, like, so new to us. It's, like, that feeling of, like, uncertainty, where, like, you're just like, okay, we're okay, but you always feel like something's not going to be okay. It's just like, how do you manage that feeling for everyone?
So for me, I have we do mental wellness, spa. So when my clients feel the way that you just described, they come to us, and then we make them feel relaxed. They unload everything to get in. And then sometimes I sit down and say, okay, so I took all this, so what am I going to unload myself? Like, what is happening? Like, so I don't know if, for me, I think when I get home, I'm trying to distract myself from my daily routine from work. I don't want to think about it, because I feel like sometimes I carry whatever my clients bring to me during that day, and sometimes I have like 7, 8 clients a day, and everybody comes with like their own problem, or like, whatever stress they have from work, they bring it to us, and we tell them like everything's gonna be okay, or like give them a nice massage, and they fall asleep. Then I got home, and I'm like, okay, so how do I distract myself from it? I found a way that cooking is literally the way that I feel like when I cook, I'm in a different zone. Like I feel relaxed when I cook, and that helped a lot because when I started the business, I never knew how to do that. Like I was working 7 days a week, get home stressed, oh my God, I'm gonna do nothing, and tomorrow I gotta do a client because the client schedule and all that. But as the day and the years go, I'm learning more to pour on myself because I realize if you don't pour on yourself, there's no way you can pour on other people. And if you're not feeling in a positive or in a mental set of doing a facial, you can't do somebody on the video. So I don't know how can I explain that, but doing a facial is more energy. It's like you are in close contact with somebody, and then when you're in close contact with that person, you guys are exchanging energy. And I feel like if your mindset is not ready for that, you can't do that. And I tell all my estheticians, if you feel you're off today, stay home. Don't come to work. And the same way I do myself, if I feel like I'm not ready to do a facial, I'll say, I'll reschedule you. And they know that about me. Like, if Apple calls and she's about to reschedule you, no, like, I will reschedule you and say, come the next day. But I think it's very hard to detach yourself from business and having yourself, like, listen to your body and listen to yourself and say, I need a break. It's very, very, very hard. You have to mastermind yourself. You have to train yourself to detach from being a business and being at home. The stress, I'm not gonna say, I don't think there's no solution to the stress. The stress is still gonna be there. It's your brain is gonna go like, okay, what is the next solution? Like sometimes I lay down in bed, fall asleep around 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning, my brain was like, oh, there's this idea about the business. And I get up, I'm like, oh my God, yes, this is great. And from there, I can't go back to sleep. So it's always there. So you just have to learn how to calm it down, but it's there. You just have to navigate through it.
I think we all be patients now.
I know.
Your books open?
Yeah, books are open.
Any other questions? Yes.
Hi, I'm Susu Wong from John 360. I run a marketing agency. So you talked about some mentoring. How do you get mentors? How do you go about it?
Well, I was pretty invasive at the start. I literally was just like, I'm starting in this business, looking to, get my start in. Can you help me? I think that people are a little bit more receptive than we think sometimes. One of the best pieces of advice that I learned is to network across. So you wouldn't necessarily go up to a CEO or anything. You'd probably talk to their assistant and network with someone that's on your level, and you guys grow together, and then you share opportunities with each other. So that was something that helped me too. But when it comes to mentors, I know that people are busy, but I think people need a lot more help than we think sometimes. So sometimes you kind of have to create opportunities for yourself. I see you're locking here. How can I get assistance? Because your website looks crazy. How can I help you? And people don't realize that because you're running a business and you're so busy that you don't realize how, a page is missing off your website. I can tell you how many times I've seen that. I think it's just the marketing in me that's like, oh. But yeah, just creating, opportunities for yourself with people that you want to be like and reaching out to them always.
Yes.
So you all shared beautifully your immigrant stories coming here. Is there any advice you would give to either government entities or banks or others who are providing any type of funding or product to work with immigrants? Because there's a lot of distrust and sometimes there's cultural barriers. Again, like for example, Muslims and loans or crowdfunding and asking your friends and family for money from certain cultures is very taboo. Is there any advice you would give to institutions giving either grants or loans in terms of working with immigrant communities?
Zero APR is something like that.
So yeah, as a Muslim, that's actually a question that it's going to be very hard to ask Michael this question. It's just almost impossible. But so this is one of the reasons why I haven't taken many loans in my life, because it's just my faith from where I'm coming from, and I'm applying it with the way I'm doing business, and it is extremely challenging Just to give you an example, I have my Capital, credit card. They never made a penny out of me, and I make money out of them. So I'm getting 2% back, or 1.5% back every single purchase. I pay them full every single time. I made one time mistake, and I made one mistake, and it took me 2 months to get back to that, to that zero APR. So I keep. This is how I work with banks. Like, it's credit card. I make sure I don't pass my, my limits, and I make sure I pay them back every month for every penny I took, and I make sure that I make money out of them 1%. It ends up being money. Last year, for example, I spent over $80,000, and I made, I paid off for my vacation. Good job. But again, I wish banks will come with, if it comes with a genius idea to work with entrepreneurs and situations like mine, for sure.
I would say trust them. Like, I would say if someone comes to you and apply for a loan, go past the skin tone, go past the origin where they come from. See the human being in them. Trust them. Give them the opportunity. Because trust me, the fact that we leave our house, sit down, write a business plan, and bring it to you is 100% sure we're going to make it work. No matter what. If we have to, coming from, I'm Muslim too, from Senegal, West Africa. Coming from, we have a beliefs. I don't know for other people, but we have a beliefs. We have, how can I say, things that we grew up with, that you have to respect other people's money. So when you invest on us, be sure that if we have not to eat, we will pay you your money back. That's one thing about it, as far as I'm concerned, as my business. So I would say, give also more visibility. And I think that's another thing. Sometimes we don't know where to go to get the money. We don't know where. You can go to the bank and ask. They're like, oh, that's not the person who deal with that. This is the person who, you go to that person. No, that's not that person, it's another person. So give them more visibility on where, direct us. Tell us where to go to apply for a loan. Tell us how we can apply for a loan. How we can do all that. And just trust us, like, because the business sometimes is our livelihood. If we don't have a business, we won't eat, the rent will not be paid, we'll be out. So we're gonna do anything on our possible and our mind to make sure this business works. So if we do that, so the part of the banker or whoever is funding you is to allow us to get that fund. So.
So I would say one thing that really helped me with my business is becoming certified with the state, and that really does open a lot of doors. Being a woman-owned business, that helps a ton, and then as well as seeking out different loans that cater to you more. So I have to give my loan person a shout out. She's in the room as well. Gisela from the BLTC, and they work with the city of Boston. They give very competitive loans at a very low interest rate. So it's just doing a lot of research. I'm not gonna lie, I met Gisela at a networking event, so I didn't have to do too much research. But just seeking out different programs that can help you. And another thing that helps me is I'm a part of BECMA, which is the Black Economic Council of Massachusetts, and they helped me a lot with getting grants to help me get my books together to apply for a program like Gisela's, and hired an accountant for me. And so it's just really niching down and finding like the different networks that are for you. And people will help you a lot more than you think.
And this is gonna be to the banks. So in my experience with the bank, I always was asked, because my business didn't mean anything, because if I'm getting a loan, I'm getting it on my name under my personal social security. And I wish they kind of disconnected that and they focused more about studying the business and what is the percentage, what is the rate of having that successful business. It's like stock market. You know, you invest in certain stock, and you know what? The more risk you take, the more money you make. The less, risk you take, the less money you make. And if you apply the same idea by having maybe a division on the bank that study that business, the idea, compared to what is the ratio of being a successful business, and you give the money, I'm not saying tons of money, but like reasonably based upon, what do you guys think, how much you can give to that business, I think it would be amazing. So that's it.
All right, I'm going to pass it back to Amber. Also, thank you to the Chamber for having us.
Can we give a hand one more time to our awesome panelists? And a huge thank you to Union Bank for funding us today and allowing us to celebrate diverse small business with you all. And then I would be remiss if I did not invite James Rassa up, the co-founder and CEO of Democracy.
Thank you. Amazing job, everybody. Don't worry, I'm not going to take up too much time. They've already said a lot smarter stuff than I'm going to say. So I'm James Raz, I'm with Democracy Brewing. We're a worker cooperative restaurant and brewery and event space, which you might have guessed because you're here. We opened in 2018, and what sets us apart, I would say, is that we're a worker cooperative. So anyone who gets a job with us after a year can become an owner. One of the things that we do is we provide business classes for our folks. We do book classes. We do all sorts of things to sort of create a business acumen for our staff. If you're here for after a year, you can be voted in to become an owner. Right now we have 8 owners, and it's been an amazing process. And I would just say really quickly, you brought up what do you do about stress. Honestly, like my superpower as an entrepreneur is knowing I'm not very smart. And so for me, it's a team. It's being able to share those burdens with lots of smart, hardworking people. Like a lot of times I have to work from home, and I'm way more stressed out than I'm here with my team because they just carry the burden with you, right? So that's one thing I would say real quick. But I gotta say, like the Space Grant, the city have been incredible. Like shout out to BLDC, talking about capital, like that's what helped get us started in the debt-wise. Amazing to work with. COVID hit us really, really hard. Obviously downtown hasn't really recovered. Again, though, BLDC, like when everything hit, we had to close. They're like, don't sweat the loans. The city's been amazing throughout the entire process. I will say too, our ownership is half Latino immigrant. Our staff is half Latino immigrant. That's had a huge advantage to us, not only in the cuisine that we serve and how passionate folks are, but it's the space grant, something we never, frankly, we're still fighting to survive in downtown. Half as many people as there used to be. It was not in the cards that had a second location. And frankly, when it hit us, we're like, well, we gotta apply, right? And so all the team brought their passion to it. So we're gonna be opening in East Boston. It's gonna be a big chunk of our staff already lives in East D, and it really fits who we are. So we're gonna be offering our beer, we're gonna be offering specifically Venezuelan, Sonoran, and Colombian cuisine. And it really would not have happened without Leah's help, I wish Emily Patrick was here, because she has helped us. She's amazing. If you don't know Emily, like hit her up. She's helped us with an architect. She's helped us with a million different things. She's amazing. So yeah, I just gotta say huge thank you to the city. We really would not be here without you guys, so thank you.
The formal portion of our program. Please keep eating, keep drinking, keep networking, and for future events, if you are interested or you'd like to learn more about our Pacesetters Supplier Diversity Network, please go to bostonchamber.com. You can sign up for our newsletter so you can attend more awesome events like this. And then I would not be a Pacesetters person if I did not say that every diverse business, please get diverse certified, women-owned, minority-owned, veteran-owned, LGBT-owned. It makes a huge difference, and we at the Chamber are here to be a resource to you all to help you get that certification. So thank you all so much.